So this morning's Devar Torah, Drasha, sermon, teaching will be, I am delighted to say, delivered by Moji. But in order to introduce Moji, because even though Moji needs no introduction, she will receive an introduction. We are honored to call upon one of the outstanding directors of the Waxman Youth House, who served during the 80s and made an indelible mark on so many students that has lasted a lifetime. We are thrilled to be able to welcome back and call upon Rabbi Chuck Diamond.
Let me just savor the moment. This is wonderful. Moji needs no introduction, so here's Moji. The first time I spoke in this sanctuary, I was very nervous because Rabbi Waxman would sit up on the bima and he would read a book for the first part of the service. Then he would get up and talk about what he read for 45 minutes. At the time, I didn't read books, and I could hardly speak for 45 minutes. But anyway, I worked hard and put together a Devar Torah, as I was telling the rabbi before, and I go to get up there, and as I'm walking up to the podium, he whispers to me, "Chuck, we're behind schedule, keep it short." And meanwhile, the other day, Moji says to me, "Talk for as long as you want." But this is your day, Moji, not my day. I just have a few things to say. What a wonderful time it was in the 80s for the Youth House. Such special memories, so nice to see. I mean, none of you have aged at all. Maybe the Adler parents have aged a little bit, but I don't know, other than that. But nobody has aged a bit, and it's so wonderful to be back here. Moji, this is your day. And as I said in the video, I think, even though it took you 30 years to accomplish what I did in 6. You're still to be congratulated. Last week was Tu B'Shvat, and we are familiar with the story of Honi Hama'agal. I don't know if you used it or not. And there are different versions of it, different takes on it, but anyway, the basic is that Honi was an older man, if you believe this version. He was an older man who was seen planting a carob tree. And somebody came along and said, "Honi, what are you doing?" Honi, Moji, it's close, "Honi, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm planting the carob tree." He says, it's going to take 70 years for it to bear fruit. "What are you doing that now for? You're not going to be around to see it." He said, "There were carob trees when I came, and there are going to be carob trees for my kids and my grandkids." Now, I like this story, but I sort of looked up how long it takes for a carob tree to bear fruit, and it says 6 or 7 years, so put everything into question, Moji. But it's about Jewish education, it's about planting seeds. And I remember a time when I got a phone call from a Mrs. Kodadadian. The name was very familiar. Don't ask me to spell it, okay? And she said to me, "Look, Lisa's so involved in the Youth House, but what can we do with Moji? She's a lost cause." Is that the words you used, if I'm remembering correctly? And she said, "I can make a very large donation if only you can get her involved." Little did we know the donation was Moji herself. And so I had a talk with Moji. I don't remember, you were in your late teens, I suppose. And I hired Moji to be my secretary. I'm sorry, what did we call it back then? Not secretary. Administrative assistant, thank you, that was it. Administrative assistant, and on Sundays. So she would, go out and buy me a bagel and stuff like that administrative assistants do. But Moji, just as you know her, everybody who knows her she has such a wonderful spirit. She's a beautiful soul on the inside and on the outside. And she had an angelic voice. Everybody used to like, in fact, everybody wanted to go out with Moji, and I started a Persian immersion program so that maybe they could pass the test of your father, Moji. I'm glad you did. It's almost like you're really Persian, Roman. That's it. Good job, good job. He passed the course with flying colors. So the second year I said to Moji, Moji, why don't you, yeah, she laughed. That was her response at the time. I don't know if she laughed or cried. But I said, Moji, why don't you teach a class? 8th grade, fairly easy. Ethics, I'm not sure which book. We have a disagreement over which book it might have been. Why be different, or why, the Jewish Book of Why. And I wanted to plant the seeds for a future in Jewish education. We also had a discussion, which I remember, and you bring it up all the time, that I said, Moji, what do you want to do? And you talked about education. And I think I said something to the effect, anybody can go into education, but it takes somebody very special to go into Jewish education, and we desperately need that. So I sort of like Honi Hamagal planting the seeds. Not 70 years later, but here we are 30-some years later. I think it was like 36 years ago. Double chai, huh? Huh? No accident. And Moji has far surpassed anything that I could have accomplished at the Youth House. The Youth House was a prime example to this very day of the combination. It's a model that works. It still works. It's a combination of the involvement of good teachers, of parents, and of students, and giving them responsibility and support of the rabbis as well, and how important that was for all of us. We accomplished great things, and we planted the seeds, and how wonderful it is to me to know, to look at all the people who are here, and Moji, all the people that you've touched with that beauty that you have. It's such a pleasure, such a privilege for me to be here and to have this opportunity to introduce you. The marvelous, magical, mystifying Moji. Now, this is almost as nice as the going away party they gave me in the Utah, 6 hours long. Anyway, we'll talk about that.
For real, do you want? You want to be over here or over there? Okay.
I amuse myself at the very least. Okay. They asked me what I wanted, and they made my dreams come true. All right. No crying. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is a perfect day. Thank you to everyone that is here and everyone who helped this extraordinary day put together. Omid, my girls, my Josh, my parents, my siblings. You are my reason. You are my meaning. You are my gift. Thank you. So what do people want to hear from me? And what do I really want to say? And what is it that my students, no matter how old, still need to hear? This sermon has occupied my thoughts during the day and has kept me up at night. I was thinking, what do I do? Do I do like a simple Devar Torah? Do I tell people like funny teaching anecdotes? Do I share my journey of how I got here? But before I realized what I wanted to say, I knew how I wanted to do it. Because although sermons might make me very nervous, teaching doesn't. So I'm going to pretend today that it's just me and my kids, me and my students. I've taught teenagers, for goodness sake. Teenagers after school, who some of them didn't even want to be there. And I did okay, right? I did okay. Yeah. So just as we've done in the youth house classroom, at my dining room table, the Holy Land, and today, this sanctuary is where I will bring some of the elements that I strive to bring every time we're together. First of all, you guys, you know this. My overarching, forever goal is to have you know and understand that your personal relationship with Hashem can be ignited and enhanced if you allow it. So allow it. Second, new knowledge and new perspectives only adds to who you are. I would beg the kids, I would say, listen, nothing you get in my classroom is going to make you less. It's never going to diminish you. It's only going to add to what you bring into a room. Know and understand that, and then we can do this. And now, together, we're going to learn and grow. And if you don't pay attention, I will make you do jumping jacks on the bima at the end of services. Dominic, you listening to me? Blondman? I'm watching. Okay. All right. Do you remember when you were about 11 years old and you found out what bar bat mitzvah parsha you were going to have? Back in the 80s, never mind what year, mine was Bechukotai. It's about the laws of Shemitah and letting the land rest. We learned that by resting, we can allow for greater and better growth in the future. It's a beautiful parsha with a really important message. But here at my Bat Mitzvah 2.0, which is what this feels like, this parsha is legendary. As my dad so beautifully read, it's the Aseret HaDibrot. Where's my family at? Are Ashley and Monica here? My family, I'm gonna need you. All right. At the Passover Seder, what do we call? 10 are the commandments. Thank you. All right. So my friends, let's imagine together. There we all are, waiting at the bottom of Mount Sinai. I read a marvelous, pun intended, midrash this week about this particular moment. Hashem realized that even though we had seen the 10 plagues, even though we had left Egypt, even though we had crossed the Red Sea, we were still not ready to hear what God and Moses were going to tell us. We were asked to prepare ourselves physically by cleaning our clothes and our bodies, but how did Hashem prepare our minds and our souls? First, we read that he made it so that the wind didn't blow. No animal made a sound. No waves crashed. The whole earth was quiet. There were no distractions. Next, as the 10 commandments were being read, the Midrash said that for each person there, Hashem provided 2 angels, one to put their hands on our head and one on our hearts. The image of this, such a profound and important moment, was made intimate and real. It seemed almost parental and so incredibly loving, emotionally setting the tone like a mom or a dad. Don't be nervous, just hear, just feel. If you let these words in, these commandments will help you be a better person. Just hear, just feel. It's a big moment, an extraordinary moment for all of humanity. But guess what? This parsha isn't called Aseret HaDibrot, or Moshe Rabbeinu, or even Har Sinai. It's called Yitro. Who's Yitro? And why is the parsha named after him? Yitro is Moses' father-in-law. He's the Midianite priest who comes to Har Sinai and reunites Moshe with his family. It's apparent from their interactions that they have a mutual love and respect for each other. But we know that he saw Moses struggling with all the responsibilities that people put upon him. Every person needed Moses. Every person needed his opinion. They needed his guidance. They asked him everything. And Yitro, in his wisdom and foresight, told his son-in-law to get people to help him. Yitro understood that a good leader empowers others to help and teaches others to lead. Yitro's short visit changed the way we asked questions and the way they were answered. Softly and quietly, he changed the paradigm. teaching us that little changes can make a big difference and are worthy of great recognition. So it got me thinking, maybe the little moments are the big moments. When I was younger, I used to watch copious amounts of television, lots. Some of my choices might surprise you. I loved Batman. Not the Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, twisty, dark Batman, but the Channel 11 every afternoon Adam West version. Who remembers that one, right? Batman, right. Bam, pow, kabloom, splat. It was big and bold, remember, right? Batman used his intelligence, a really cool outfit, a sick car, and boatloads of money to save the world. Apparently, in Bruce Wayne's world, big and bold moves were needed to save the planet. But just 2 channels away, a man in a cardigan sang to me. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, right? A beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Mr. Rogers changed the world too. He did it very differently. He was a unique kind of hero who helped us become our best selves. He taught us that kindness and humility and seeing people for who they are and where they are can make the world a better place as well. In his neighborhood, small gestures made a big difference. As a little kid, I liked both. As an adult, I can see I needed both, and we all do. Teaching at the Youth House has been a dazzling kaleidoscope of big and little moments. All of the memories are connected, and they fold into each other, and they come out again more beautiful than before. I have so many memories with so many of you. Which ones are more important? Which ones are more worthy of telling? The Israel trips, they were fantastic. Rosh Chodesh was life-changing. Classroom teaching was usually more fun and fulfilling than you can imagine. Usually. And what about those relationships that were built and grew outside of those situations? Afterwards, like when I'd see you around, anywhere. The hugs, the looks, all of it. What about the amazing teachers I taught with? The directors I worked with? For every big event, I have thousands of memories and smiles and laughter and vulnerabilities. All of it. In that twirling kaleidoscope that is my life, you are all here. Got it. In my mind and in my heart. Whether you're here or not, whether you're watching on Zoom or you have no idea that this weekend is even happening, you're in my kaleidoscope. The big, the small, the loud, the quiet, the bold, the subtle. You, my incredible friends, you made me laugh. You made me think, you made me try harder, you made me better. But for more than 30 years, you have been my 10 commandments and my Yitro. I hope that I've been what you needed when you needed it. I want you all to know, to paraphrase E.E. Cummings, I carry you all in my heart. Shabbat Shalom.
So everybody, please have a seat. This will actually be brief, though there is much, much, much that I want to say, and I'm sure everybody here wants to, and we'll have this afternoon, and we'll have tonight as well. So first of all, Moji, I really hope that you can continue to take all of this in, just one person at a time. You spoke of a kaleidoscope, which is kind of all of these different images. Sometimes it's kaleidoscope, C-O-L-L-I-D. We bump into each other. Sometimes There are challenges, and you know how to navigate all of that so beautifully. I'm so honored to be here in your presence, and Parviz and Parvana, just to know how much inspiration you and your parents have brought right here. And to the entire family and to Omid, amazing supporter of everything that Moji has done. I mean, not only do you take care of everything when Moji is in Israel taking care of 45 teens, you go to Indigo Girls concerts with her. You're a very special man. And of course, Lisa and Johnny, you are so adoring of your big sister, and she of the two of you, and Amy and Josh and Rachel and Dana and Layla, you guys, each in your own ways, are carrying elements of each of your parents in your hearts and in your souls. So Moji, as some of you may know, when there's graduation at the youth house, she picks out a very special book for each graduate, and she presents it as only Moji can, understanding the heart and the soul of each child. So before I present a little something that I happened to find on the treacherous, rough and tumble streets of Burlington, Vermont, where I was a few days ago, I want to share a piece of Torah with you, Moji. There is a moment where we read, V'chol ha'am ro'im et ha'kolot, that all of the people saw the voices on Mount Sinai. How do you see a voice? What does that even mean? And thinking about you and the way that you relate to teens, but to every human being, I have a new insight into that. Because before a child, before a teen even speaks, you see their voice. Before they even are able to articulate to themselves what it is that they're thinking and feeling, much less say it out loud, you understand what it is that they are thinking about, dreaming about, worrying about. You see all of those voices, and you are able to somehow make each voice that much more beautiful, not just individually, but collectively as part of the community. I know that you considered a career in science, a medical career, and I found a book that I hope you will enjoy. It is called How We Learn. And in this age of artificial intelligence, this author wrote about how the human brain still can do unique things that cannot be done by those who are not human. How we learn, why brains learn better than any machine for now. So Moji, enjoy this as you continue to raise up every voice of all the people you love and all the people who will always love you. Mazel tov.